Yeah, my name is Dingo, and I'm here with my main man Hyena, and we're talking. And today's topic is gonna be Jungle Thoughts podcast, where our voices are heard in the world of adults. Now, our main topic of the story is jungle thoughts, how people survive in the jungle, and what they have to do to survive, and how to survive without real world environments like gas or cooking or utilities like furniture, all the easy stuff. Today, me and my main man Hyena are gonna go over the steps you can take to survival and what you must do if you was in a survival situation where you have no shelter or any food. Now we're gonna go over the thoughts with the survivaling, and here's what I say in one thing: if you're in the jungle and you have no food or shelter, you might have no clothes because anything can happen. From all the stuff that I learned from watching TV shows and learning about survivaling, here's one thing you could do if you was in a cold place in the Antarctica. To collect warmth, this one guy, he took all his clothes off. Now this may get disgusting, but he took all his clothes off and he peed on it and then put it all back on, because the pee has a type of chemical in it with salt that keeps it warm from the coldness.
Okay, so that is partially true, but it's only gonna keep you warm for so long, because as you'll realize from just urinating just about anywhere, it's not gonna stay hot. It's eventually going to cool down, and considering the fact that it's with the idea of the Arctic, eventually it is going to get colder. But something that people don't always think to do is if you go further into what is causing the coldness, eventually it will start to get warm because it is condensed.
Great thought, Hyena. I also learned if you're in Antarctica and you don't have water, it's never the best idea to drink water from a frozen pond, because if you drink water from a frozen pond that's below zero, when it goes in your body, it decreases the temperature in it drastically. So what you're supposed to do is, from what I learned, is when you get the water, you're supposed to find some way to cool it down, make it kind of warm and drink it. I've seen people that's able to drink hot water in the Antarctica. Now, it may not be the greatest thing you taste or the coolest thing, but in my case, I'd rather drink warm water than cold water that will, potentially kill me.
I mean, yeah, you're right, entirely. I'd much rather be alive than frozen, so drinking hot water, definitely the best of ideas if you're in the cold. But it's actually pretty simple to warm up the water. It just depends on what you do have.
Explain.
So, simply, if you were to, something that you can get from an MRE is matches that could be lit in just about any condition as long as they're not completely wet. There are certain styles of matches that are light even if they're just damp, or if they're wet. There are underwater matches and everything. Say that again. There's this thing called an underwater match. Now,
explain. How would you light a match underwater?
So it actually has certain chemicals that allow for it to burn underwater. And it's not exactly for long purpose use. It's kind of just like for a quick little, alright, let me see what's around. Maybe I can start a fire in this little damp environment. Or you'll be able to use it as soon as you get out of the water. Even if you just had to swim underneath like water and had to hop out somewhere.
But isn't that, if you swim in below zero water, doesn't that decrease your body temperature? Standing in it below zero can freeze your legs, which may paralyze them or stop them from moving for so long. And you can't sit in the Antarctica even with all the protection gear, because without heat you die of, well, what they call it?
Hypothermia or pneumonia.
Yeah.
Well, that is true. But with everything, there's always a time frame. So Chicago has experienced below zero weather before. And granted, not a lot of people got anywhere close to water unless they had to take a shower that morning, in which case they dried off before they walked outside. But if you're completely soaked, you do have a small window of time before you start to freeze. And considering the fact that the human body is supposed to be naturally between, I think it was 80 something degrees and 100 and something, or like just barely in between there.
Now, what I also learned in Antarctica, there's not a lot of food. And fishing isn't really the best idea since you have to wait and you don't have a lot of time in Antarctica. I also found out that there are some bugs in Antarctica that you can eat if you can find them. But the problem with that is most people that live in the city is not going to eat a bug. I mean, personally, I wouldn't eat a bug even if I did have to, you know.
Okay, what were you saying? So, not saying that I'm exactly proud of this, but during my time doing survival training and a few other things, I actually have eaten insects before. And in all honesty, like, the flavor really does come from how it's prepared and what it ate. And if it's just in nature itself, not anywhere in the city, you don't really have to worry about much, except for maybe it being poisonous because it has natural predators. Other than that, though.
So, secondly, what you're saying is that you're saying that you would eat a bug. My brother told me in the survivals they have eaten bugs before, but what's the difference between a bug that's from the nature and a bug that live in the city? Like a cockroach, for example.
Okay, so it's going to be entirely different just based off of what it's going to be eating. So a bug in the city could be eating something that it's not supposed to be eating, much like animals in the city can't eat things that they're not supposed to, as opposed to one that's in the wild, because it'd be more attentive. It would already know what's in its area. It would know what it can and can't eat. But that's because it'd be used to what's in its area. So if you were to take a bug that's native to only like Illinois and taking it somewhere like Canada, dropping it off there or something, it's not going to know what it can and can't eat. It's either going to starve or it's going to eat a lot of stuff that it's not supposed to.
I've also learned that surviving in the desert, this one man, he grabbed the scorpion and cut off his pincer or his stinger and ate it. Are you supposed to do it like that? Or are you supposed to cut off his pincers and his stingers?
So personally, I haven't exactly had the chance to chow on a scorpion. That's actually on my bucket list now.
Disgusting.
But I'm pretty sure you're supposed to cut off its pincer and its claws, because it's still going to be alive. In all actuality, I'd much rather get rid of everything that it could possibly use to attack me, so I'd see if I can't get something done with its head as well.
Well, we're about to wrap this up, but the reason we telling you this stuff is because every day for military personnel, they go through this stuff every day. When you're in enemy territory, sometimes you might not have the supplies you need, or sometimes you may have to stand in the enemy territory for a long period of time. You may not leave, or you may be in the field where they can't get you supplies. You might be in a neutral territory, but you can't get supplies, and we telling you this because they go through this every day. And if the Army can go through this, then so can you. We have seen many civilians and teachers done this before.
Going a little further than just that, like basing the idea on what the soldiers do. So when they are deployed, they are given like 2 days worth of rations and MREs. And even though it sounds like something pleasant, it's not exactly. It's essentially a military Lunchable, except for a lot more intense.
Well, this is Dingo here, and with my main bud Hyena, and we're gonna wrap it up. But next time, our next topic is, what would you do with $1 million? Got anything to say on that before we hang up?
I can't wait till you guys get to hear what I would waste $1 million on.
And I can't wait for you guys to hear what I would use with my $1 million instead of waste it. Bye-bye now.